Hello everyone, welcome back to another tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be looking at how QoS works with PC queue without rate limit. So before I continue, I'm going to explain what is QoS. And QoS stands for quality of service. And what it does, it ensures that all the devices in your network gets some of the bandwidth that is available. So no one device can actually use all the bandwidth while other PCs may be unable to browse just because of that one PC that is maybe streaming some videos or so forth. And PCQ stands for per connection queuing, and what this does, this works in conjunction with QoS, and it breaks the traffic into queues. When it breaks the traffic into queues, it allows better bandwidth management and parameters to be set based on the traffic. Alright, so in this diagram, when one device is connected, this device will get the full 100 up, full 100 down and the 20 up. But if another PC comes online now and starts to browse, what will happen with PCQ? It will ensure that this PC will be guaranteed half of the available bandwidth. And if we add another device, then the bandwidth will be divided by 3, and if a fourth device comes on, the total bandwidth will be divided by 4. So now with 4 devices on this network, each device will now get 25 megabits download and 5 megabits upload. Alright, let us look at another scenario. In this scenario, we have set a rate limit, or what we call a rate. And this rate limits the total download, which is for this scenario is just 10 megabits, and also limit the total upload, which is 1 megabit. And with this limit, this PC will now only get 10 megabits down and 1 megabit up. And if a second PC comes online, that PC will get the same bandwidth as the first PC. And if a third PC comes on, and the fourth will be the same. So when a rate is set, the bandwidth remains constant to the device, even when that device demands more bandwidth. And the available bandwidth for each PC remains the same, and the only times this change is if the bandwidth demand exceeds the maximum download and upload. So I'm going to go into a bit of that. I'm going to show you a scenario to better explain that situation. So say for instance your network is congested, so a lot of traffic is flowing through, a lot of persons are browsing, streaming and so forth. With a rate limit that is set to 10 megabits down and 1 up, and for this scenario what I did was I use a lower download speed and a lower upload speed just to make the figures a bit more realistic. So with this, the first PC will have a download speed of 10 megabits down and 1 megabit up, and that is because of the rate limit. But there are other factors that affect rate limits. One is a priority. So if you look when you're creating a new Q3, you see this field that says priority, and how the priority works is that the bigger or the larger the priority number is the lower the priority. So priority 1 will have a higher priority than priority 8. So in a congested network, these computers that has a priority 8 will get the remaining bandwidth. So this computer, because the first computer has a priority 1, this computer is guaranteed all the bandwidth based on the rate that is set, which is the 10 megabits. So this computer will be able to get its full 10 megabits down and 1 up, while the other computers will get the remaining. So if you subtract, say, if you subtract 10 from the 20 megabits, you're left with 20, and dividing the 20, now each computer will get a maximum of 6.66 megabits per second and 3.33 kilobits per second. So this is how QoS works with PCQ in a congested network. I'm now going to show you a practical example in Router OS, where I'm going to configure some queues and do some tests and show you how it really works. Alright, so I'm now in Winbox, and what I did was I created some Mongo rules that will mark the traffic for some client computers. And on my DHCP servers, there are 3 clients that are currently connected, and what I did was to create some rules that will mark the traffic for each client. But I'll go through creating these Mongo rules in another tutorial, but this is just to give you an idea or give you an understanding of how PCQ works. Over here we have the queue tree, which I had created, and what I did was to allocate the maximum bandwidth to be 7 megabits, and then for download I allocated 5 megabits, and for upload 512 kilobits. So all the clients would share this 5 megabits, and they will also share the 512 kilobits upload based on the limit that is set. So these will be the limit for these clients, because these clients are actually the child for this parent. So this is a parent, and these will be considered a child because they're underneath each one. And then download and upload will be the child for all bandwidth. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over to the client PCs, and then I'm going to download a file, and then you're going to see how PCQ distribute the bandwidth across those clients. But in terms of explaining how to create the Mongo rules and the queue tree, I'm going to do that in another tutorial, where I'm going to go through and explain how to create each one of these and how it really works and all of that. But this is just to show how PCQ works and how it distributes bandwidth. So let me go over to test machine, and I'm on thinkbandwidth.com/download, and this is a good site where you can use to download files for testing your bandwidth. So I'm going to download a 1 gig file, and I'm going to say save. I'm going to save this. I'm going to switch over to another PC, and I'm going to download the same file again. Let me save that, and then I'm going to go to the third one, which is my PC, and I'm going to download that file too. And let us go back to Winbox, and if you look at the speeds, you realize the speeds are almost identical. So you see where PCQ actually divide the speeds for each client equally between 1.6 and 1.7 megabits. So it's dividing the traffic equally across all the clients. I remember in the tutorial where I was showing how the traffic would be divided equally among the clients, and so this is how it really works. So say for instance I change the limit. You remember I was talking about the limit, the rate, and this is the rate. This is where you go to change the rate. And if you say for instance I change the rate to 2 megabits, apply that, okay. So this is the rate for the download. I'm just going to change the download for now, just that for now. Alright, so the rate has changed to 2 megabits. So that's the maximum speed any computer can get. But that doesn't really affect anything right now. because you're seeing where the speed is still equally, the bandwidth is equally distributed across each client. But if I go to PC3 and I change the priority, I'm going to give this PC priority 1. Okay, you're going to see where this PC now would get more bandwidth than the others. So this PC now starting to get 2 megabits, which is the full bandwidth, while the others are getting the remainder, which is 3 megabits. Can you remember the total bandwidth is 5 megabits? And this PC client 3 is getting 2 megabits, while the remaining 3 megabits is shared between the other 2 clients. And this happened because of the priority. So client 2 has priority 8, and client 1 also have priority 8. If I go ahead now and change the priority for another client to say I'm going to change this one, client 2, I'm going to change the priority to 1 also. Then you see what happened. Now client 3 and 2 is getting the same bandwidth, and whatever is left, client 1 will be getting whatever is left over. So these two, so 2 and 2, 4, and whatever is left, which is 1 megabit, would make up the total bandwidth, which is 5 megabits. So because this is the limit that is set, the total bandwidth that the clients use will not pass 5 megabits. So that is how PCQ works, and this is how QoS works with PCQ in managing bandwidth. And I'll be doing another video explaining how to create the Mangler rules, how to create these Q trees, and also modifying the Q types. So I'll be going through all of those in another tutorial. So that's it for this tutorial. Remember, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, please remember to do so. So thanks for watching.